Hey, it's Ben Solomon, and welcome to this episode of the Techno Leadership Show. And in this episode, we are going to be covering how to prepare for a junior technical role interview. So, these are basically guidelines, things that have helped me, tips, tricks that you can use to prepare yourself overall for technical interview, whether it's junior or senior. A lot of these apply, but I'm specifically keeping it more for a junior technical role because a lot of people who want to get into engineering and technology fields, IT and so on, seem to want to understand how they can break in, because a lot of these jobs, as ridiculous as it sounds, they go, oh yeah, entry level position, but you should have had 2 years experience. It's like, how does one get experience if they don't get given the opportunity to get the experience? Like, some of that is a bit ridiculous, but anyways, I've been through that personally, and I've seen a lot of people that I've worked with, talked to, go through the same sort of thing. You look at the job ad for an entry level position, and it says you need to have experience, and you're like, yeah, how am I going to get experience till I get a job? And get given the opportunity to grow within that job and gain that experience. So yeah, if you're a technical manager, technical leader listening to this, please think about it. If you're looking for an entry level position, don't really ask for experience. If there are people with experience, fantastic, and if they're the best of the lot that come through, fantastic. But especially in entry level positions, I'd prefer to find someone who has got fantastic attitude, someone who has a can-do attitude, and someone who's willing to learn. That way, we don't have to work hard in trying to unteach them bad habits that they might have picked up. So for junior level roles, yeah, just give people a break. Give them the opportunity to come in, learn, and make a difference. Cool. With that rant out of the way, let's get to today's topic, which is how to prepare for a junior technical role interview. So before you even apply for this role, I'm assuming that you would have gone through the processes that I've spoke about in previous episodes. So doing your research on what's expected, what sort of skills you need to have, what kind of company you want to work for, and all of that sort of thing. And you have a fairly good understanding before you applied for the role on what you would be doing, what you expected, and that your skills and experience match what the job asks for. And beyond that, well, congratulations. If you're going to the interview, then you've been, granted that opportunity. You've made a mark on the people who've read your cover letter and resume, and they believe that you're right to come in and interview for the job. So once you understand the expectations in the role, make sure you write it down when you're doing your preparation, because it does help you get scenarios, get things ready to answer questions that will come up. And once you know the expectations, just think about, what does the job in itself entail? What does that company do? Where is value produced in that company? And how would you support in the value creation process? Maybe it's a level 1 technical support engineer. It means, being available, being able to prioritize jobs as they come in, being able to take important priority jobs and fixing issues as soon as possible, so that people on the field or in the office can get on with the roles that they're there for. So try and understand what you'll be doing, and that's where, as part of the research that you do even before you apply for the role, talking to someone who is either going to be your potential manager or someone who works in the department, if you can get a hold of them, would be great to speak to and understand how would you fit in there. And so again, utilize various scenarios, various experiences that you've had in life to show them that you're the right fit for the role. And let's say you've gone from working in retail, customer service, and you're going into a technical role where you'd be being in a technical support position. Your customer service skills comes in handy. Like, that is a positive, that is a strength. Utilize that. Tell stories around the things that you've done to resolve customer issues and give customers a great experience when you've had the opportunity in your previous roles. Use every bit of story that you have about things that you have done to support the fact that you are the right person for this role. And then once you know what the job entails and what's expected of you, then know exactly what skills you have and how they benefit the company, and how you can utilize stories of things that you've done in your life so far, whether it's in part-time roles, whether it's in voluntary roles, whether it's in, like, let's say you've contributed in a sporting club or something of that sort. You've helped people out during events that they've held, or you've run an event at school, whatever it might be. All of these things are opportunities that you can bring out and say, look, I actually organized an event, I ran the whole event, I made sure everyone was well taken care of. All of that sort of thing is showing that you have initiative and you're someone who would grow in the company. Once you understand the whole thing about that, the next stage in most cases, you also get told who's going to be part of the interview panel. So I do a little bit of research on the people that are going to be part of the panel and get a feel for, from their LinkedIn profile and things like that, of what they enjoy, what they are like. And then there is a specific process that I go through. And it's a process that is kind of my quote-unquote secret in doing interviews well and being very comfortable in interview situations. Is before I go for the interview, usually a day before, a couple of days before, I usually take time to visualize myself in front of those people who are going to be part of the panel. And in cases when you don't know who's going to be in part of the panel, you just have to, make up a couple of people who would be there as part of the interview panel and go through it. Close your eyes, go through the visualization process where they ask you questions, and general questions you will know, and you can research online to see what sort of questions you get asked for each position. Most of it starts with things like, tell us about yourself, which is a great opportunity for you to talk about things that you have achieved in other areas of life that you would be able to bring into this current position that you're applying for to make a difference. And so visualize all that, go through it again and again, and go through it till you're flawlessly doing it. This is practice, and this is role playing, and this helps you when you actually go to the interview feel like you've already done it before. It's that almost deja vu style feel that you get when you attend the interview. You feel like you've already met these people, you've already done the interview, and you've aced it. And that gives you a sense of calm that almost nothing else, at least in my case, I haven't had any other strategy that's worked as well as this has. Doing this visualization process just makes me feel like I've already done the interview. I already know the people that I'm doing the interview with, and that just gives a sense of normalization and comfort that when I attend the interview, I'm not stuttering, I'm not stressed. I can just focus on the value that I provide and how I can be of benefit to the company if given the opportunity. So, and this is not just worked for myself, it's also worked for people that have coached my old team members when they were going for other higher level positions. And The other thing that has helped a lot is a book by Brian Tracy called Psychology of Selling. And if you're in the technical field, there is a tendency for a lot of people in the technical field to feel, oh, selling is icky and all that sort of thing. But I think this is one of the probably one of the best books on selling yourself, as well as it's for other sales as well, but for selling ourselves in an interview. It talks about what sales really is. It's about matching, what someone actually needs and wants with what you have, if you actually have it. If you don't have something that the other person wants, the best thing to do is to refer them off to someone else who actually can fulfill those needs. And in the case of a job, I believe that if you feel like you're not the right fit for the job, you need to be able to step up and say, look, unfortunately, I don't believe that this is the right place for me, and be able to step away, even if it's a junior role or senior role. And that as part of the process. And that's where, asking questions towards the end of the interview helps you gauge if that is the kind of, environment you want to work in, kind of team that you want to work in, all of those sort of things. So the book by Brian Tracy, Psychology of Selling, is an excellent book, a resource that'll help you. And it also goes through some of the visualization processes to normalize the process of selling, but which is the same thing put into an interview perspective. You're selling yourself. So once you've done all of that, in most cases you're ready for the interview. You've got stories that you can tell that show the interview panel that you have the required skills, even if you may not have work experience in that industry, in IT or engineering, but you have the skills that are transferable across and that you would be bringing value to the company. Once all that's done, when you are given the opportunity to ask questions, ask some really good quality questions. Show them that you want to perform in this role, you want to add value to the company and the team that you get to work with and make a difference. So some of the questions that I would ask in a junior role are, how large is the team? Am I going to be the only front desk person? And all these questions help you make a decision on whether that's the kind of role you want to get into. Some companies have multiple front end staff, which means the work's distributed. But if you're the only person who's a front end person, you might get flooded a bit. And if you're happy to deal with that sort of stress, perfect. You can go with that. Or you'll have to then look at an organization that has a bigger team that you can be a part of. And then ask them if they've got specialists or mostly cross-functional generalists in the team. Both have positives and negatives. And again, based on what you want out of your career at this stage, make the right choice for yourself. It is an opportunity for you to find out if they're the right fit for you as well. And it's in some sense an opportunity for them to sell the benefits of working for their company. It's a two-way mutual relationship. It's not just you, it's not just them. It's a transference of value between the two of you. And then do ask them what the opportunities for growth and learning are. Like, I believe everyone has a desire to learn and grow. And if there is no opportunities for that, there's no visible opportunities for growth within the organization, and there's no learning opportunities, then you might feel like it's not the right place for you. But even if there are, other team members who step in, coach and mentor junior staff, that's a fantastic opportunity, even if they don't have a formal budget for training outside of that. At least if you have someone who would mentor you and coach you, that's a fantastic opportunity. And I was blessed in my early days to have organizations where we had senior team members who were happy to coach and mentor me. which was fantastic for my growth and helped me get to where I am today. Then once you've gotten answers for that, there's a question that I like asking, and I've learned this question from entrepreneurial coach Dan Sullivan. He's even written a book around just this question. He's written a lot of books, but he's got a book around this question. But in the last 7 or so years, I've used this question in every interview that I've gone to, and it helps me really gauge the mindset of the organization, my potential manager, my potential team members, depending on what role I've gone for. And so the question goes like this, and you'd be asking this to the panel. And if you've got your potential manager there, that person's probably the best to ask. In some organizations, you might have the CEO of the business or managing director of the business, if it's a flat structured team. You can ask them the question as well. So basically, the question goes, let's say that I'm given the role and we're having this discussion 12 months from now. From your perspective, what should have happened between now and then for you to consider that I have been successful in the role? So this usually gives them the opportunity to tell you what the expectations are. To say, we would expect you to do X, Y, Z, and if we can see that you have done X, Y, Z, then it's been a successful thing. Us choosing you has been successful. And it gives you the opportunity to go, are these the kind of things that I want to be doing for the next 12 months? It gives you that opportunity to also go, now, if you do get offered the job and you find the answer to that ambiguous and vague, you might go, you're not the right place for me to work. It gives both of you the opportunity to, be clear and transparent on what the expectations are. And then the other things that I've normally asked is, what planned initiatives or projects do you have for the next few months? So it gives you an idea of when you get in, what kind of value can you add? What projects can you support? What can you do? How can you learn? What things can you prepare for? Like, let's say, for example, you're going into an electronics IoT engineer role, and the company that you work for has clients in like control systems or water control systems clients. If you haven't worked in that area and you haven't really had interest in that area in the past, the time between when you get offered the role and you start the role, which could be 2 or 4 weeks, you have an opportunity to at least read up on that area and find what your interests are like, get an understanding of that market, so that when you do go in, you can go in with at least a broad understanding of what's expected. And then obviously the technical details and things like that, you get, every company is different, and there usually is some form of training to get you up to speed on what each company does. So not much to stress about there, especially in junior entry-level roles. In senior roles, yes, there is an expectation that you'll hit the ground running, basically. But even then, if it's a well-organized company, there is training, there is documentation, there are process documentations and SOPs and everything written that you can utilize to learn and understand how everything works. And then one of the last questions that I like asking, just again, is to understand the expectations and understand what I'd be doing on a day-to-day basis is, from your viewpoint, what does a typical day look for a person in this role? And they usually will tell you, first thing in the morning, you're expected to check on these things. They might have certain systems, servers, CCTV systems, whatever it might be. They might say, look, these are things that need to be checked to ensure everything's fine. Then you need to ensure that the directors of the company have all their work thing, computers working fine and all that. There's different expectations, different things that they want out of people. So it's good to get a feel for what the expectations are. And look, carry a notebook. I always carry a notebook like this. It's a dotted journal called bullet journal, and I write things down. And I even have the questions that I'm going to ask, even though I've asked pretty much the same style of questions for the last decade or so in different job interviews. I have it written because I want to make sure I get these questions asked, and I want to get the answers written down so that when I do start the role, I can utilize that as a starting point to say, start well at that company in that role. So that's pretty much the thing. And look, having spoken to a lot of people who've gone to interviews, and especially those who are not ultra comfortable in interviews, do realize there are good days and bad days. You have good interviews and bad interviews. Things happen, but don't let it stop you from applying for other roles. Don't let it take away your confidence. You are a unique human being. You've got skills already, even if you don't have it in that industry, in engineering or technology or whatever you're applying for. You've got transferable skills from other places that you can utilize. Identify them, be confident in them, go and present yourself as the best possible self you can. And look, there are exercises that I've said in this episode that will be beneficial to prepare and make yourself confident in those scenarios. So keep doing that and keep applying for roles, keep attending interviews. And if you're anything like me, even after you get a role that you love, keep applying for other roles and attend interviews so that you keep sharpening your skills in interviewing and in applying for the next level positions and being ready for it when the next level position comes up. So yeah, always constantly be learning, constantly be ready for it, constantly be sharpening the sword, so to speak, and go and win. That's it. It's your life, one life to live. And I wish you all the best for your future interview. And if there's any specific questions, feel free to ask me those questions in the comment section in the YouTube channel or on the website technoleadership.org. And yeah, I'm happy to answer those questions and help you as much as I possibly can. So have a great day and look forward to speaking to you in the future episode.